At least 20 people are known to have died in the chaos and panic in and around Kabul airport in the week since the Taliban seized control of Afghanistan. As people continue to arrive at the airport, Britain's ambassador to the country says more than 5,000 people have been helped to leave so far, and the US has drafted commercial airlines to help with its evacuation effort. In the last hour, the US President Joe Biden said there is still a long way to go and a lot could still go wrong, but he hoped the airlift will end by August the 31st. Our chief international correspondent, Lisa Doucette, is now airside at Kabul airport and has witnessed thousands of people desperate to get onto a flight to leave their homeland.
It hits you as soon as you put your foot on the tarmac of this airfield, the intensity and the urgency of this moment. Every direction we look at Kabul International Airport, Afghans and foreigners in straight lines boarding the military transport planes that are all around this tarmac, taking Afghans not just away from their country, but away from the lives that they live, the identity they cherish, leaving everything behind to start from scratch.
Today is the day that a generation of Afghans have buried their dreams and aspirations in our lives. This city to us is our home, despite its contradictions. We called it home. We raised from here. We hope that the Taliban can learn from the lessons of the past and everyone else, and we can prove that we can move away from the tanks and bullets towards a road where everyone can see themselves.
This urgent evacuation is one that no one expected, nobody wanted, and no one will forget. There are said to be more than 10,000, possibly up to 14,000 people now in this airfield waiting to board a flight to take them anywhere out of this country, foreigners as well as Afghans. There are thousands more Afghans, a rush of Afghans who race to the airport to try to get on one of these flights. Afghans have an expression when they travel, Safar Khosh, may your journey be happy. Some will be so relieved that some of them will have spent days outside waiting to get inside. They are trying to get through. It's taken some people days to get in because of the people who are pushing outside at the gates. Little children, families, not knowing what kind of life they're heading to.
Lisa Doucette at Kabul airport. Well, while thousands of Afghans have been trying to leave, many of the millions who are staying are anxious about the future, particularly for women and girls. The Taliban have said that female rights will be respected within the framework of Islamic law, but many people are concerned that women will be stopped from going to work and girls from going to school. Our correspondent, Sakana Kamani, sent this report, and just to warn you, it contains some distressing images.
When the Taliban took over Kabul, many residents were terrified. But Rowena, a young female journalist, decided she should go and talk to them for her YouTube channel. That was the last video she uploaded. She's unsure if the group will approve of her working or not. For now, many offices have told female employees to stay at home. Many female professionals have fled in fear. It's hard to imagine the Taliban accepting even small freedoms like this, filmed before the takeover. I really love my job and I want to carry on working, she says. I hope the Taliban will allow me to. Otherwise, I'll have to leave the country and go abroad. The last time the Taliban were in power in the 1990s, women weren't allowed to work, girls couldn't go to school. Even now, they defend punishments like lashing and stoning adulterers to death. Today, under Taliban rule, you do still see some women out and about in Kabul, though significantly fewer than before. Many are simply too afraid to step outside. So far, here, they haven't been ordered to wear the burqa or to stay at home unless accompanied by a man. but no one's sure if that will last. I've been trying to speak to any of the women here, but all of them are extremely reluctant to go on camera. That's not something entirely new, but one woman did tell me while she was deeply anxious about the future, she didn't feel safe saying anything critical about the Taliban. Even without new laws being imposed, fear is changing the way many women dress. No one's buying jeans anymore, says this shopkeeper. Instead, they're buying headscarves and more conservative gowns. Many are deeply suspicious of the group, but today the Taliban told female employees at Kabul's mayor's office to return to their jobs. Durkhana was one of a handful that turned up. They just said, you have to wear the hijab, she tells me, but I already dress like this anyway. The Taliban have always been vague in their commitments to women's rights. In some areas, they banned girls going to school beyond the age of 12. Young Afghan women have been amongst those taking part in scattered protests defying the group.
Most of the Taliban...
Fawzia Kufi is a prominent campaigner and was a member of the team negotiating with the Taliban.
A lot of women actually contact me. They come to see me or message me. They're trying a way out or looking for something different. Not only in terms of security, but in terms of hope for a better country. They don't have it anymore. But in the meantime, I think I'm very proud to see them getting ready to resist.
Many women worry, whatever the Taliban say now about being able to work or go to school, they'll grow increasingly strict once the international focus comes to an end. For now, it's a time of deep uncertainty. We're getting reports of fresh clashes to the north of Kabul in the province of Panjshir. That's the one province yet to be captured by the Taliban, where fighters calling themselves the Resistance are based. They include the former Vice President Amrullah Saleh and the son of the legendary anti-Taliban fighter Ahmad Shah Massoud. Now, the Taliban had been attempting to negotiate the surrender of the province, but yesterday saw fierce fighting in a number of nearby districts. And the Taliban tonight said they had sent hundreds of their fighters towards Panjshir. Sources in the resistance telling me they managed to repel them from the gate of Panjshir. Panjshir has always traditionally been a bastion of anti-Taliban resistance, so it's definitely a situation to keep monitoring in the coming days.
All right, Sikandar, thank you very much. Sikandar Kamani in Afghanistan.